And so what the females seem to be doing is using some marker or some set of markers as a proxy indicator for health. And I think you could say with reasonable, you could say reasonably that female human beings do the same thing to male human beings. And there's some of that vice versa too. Like we evaluate each other, for example, for symmetry, which is one of the elements of beauty, because healthier people tend to be more symmetrical, and lots of animals use symmetry. Butterflies, if butterflies won't mate with another butterfly if it deviates from symmetry by the tiniest amounts you can imagine. So symmetry is a marker, and there's other markers like shoulder width to waist width is one, and waist width to hip width is another. That's usually what males use that to evaluate females.
I mean, that you see that across all cultures, and that is an unconscious thing. Like evaluating symmetry is something that people don't even notice that they're doing. It's just inherent.
In part. So there's lots of markers of health, but it also looks to me like the data worldwide seems to indicate that women, so imagine that women mate across dominance hierarchies and up, socioeconomically speaking, and on average across cultures women go for men who are about 4 to 5 years older. You know, it varies. In the Scandinavian countries that's shrunk a little bit, but not that much, and in other cultures it's bigger. I would say that depends to some degree on difficulty of establishing economic independence, right? Because in richer countries it's easier to have enough economic independence if you're a male to be a useful participant in.
And this is why in poorer countries you see more younger women with older men. Part of it is escorting, prostitution, but also a part of it is the fact that women are just, it's either that they settle or they are just inherently more attracted to the older guy. Like they see them as more attractive, like inherently. And it's something that American women just don't understand. Okay, like they think that when they go to another country and they see an older guy with a younger woman, they think the woman is playing him and they think the guy's taking advantage of her. That's just cultural perspective, very naive. Truth is that that woman might most likely feel physically attracted to him. But it's difficult to understand because we're viewing it from our cultural point of view, where most likely you don't find that guy attractive, but she does. And just because you don't like him doesn't mean she don't like him genuinely, right? And society in our culture looks down and say, "Oh, she just likes him for the money or how much." You know what I'm saying? Like it's a projection. It pretty much is a projection. They hate seeing older guys with younger women.
In the process of having children. But it doesn't matter, cross-culturally it's still across and up, where men mate across and down. They don't care much about socioeconomic status. It doesn't seem to be part of their selection method, generally speaking. So I think that part of that is also the ability of women to select for male health. It's something like that, because it isn't only that, because if you're healthy and energetic, you're much more likely to be successful, because it's very hard to be successful if you're ill, obviously. I mean, so, because the competition is just too high. And both genders, both sexes select each other for attractiveness, both select for intelligence, both select for personality, although there are differences there in terms of what's stressed. But so I think you can derive a couple of things out of this, and this is where I think people are different than other animals. Importantly different is that, so you imagine that there's tremendous selection pressure towards the production, let's say, of men who are good at climbing male dominance hierarchies, or climbing the male dominance hierarchy. But the thing that's so interesting about people is that we've multiplied our dominance hierarchies. You know, if you take an animal that's got a rather static behavioral pattern, then there's a single hierarchy. Elephant seals are a good example of that. So elephant seals, the males are absolutely massive. They're way, way bigger than the females. And they basically have harems, roughly speaking. And they use physical prowess as their marker of status, essentially. And obviously size is a huge part of that, because otherwise the male elephant seals wouldn't be as, they're massive, these things. They're absolutely enormous. And so it's just power / health, you know, maybe aggression.
Right. And what he's getting at is that just because you don't have the looks department doesn't mean there aren't other hierarchy ladders that you could climb. Right. You may be ugly as fuck, but you could be a good leader. You may not be a good leader, but you could be a good basketball player. You may not be a good basketball player, but you can make money, right? And each one of those hierarchies, I mean, ladders come with its pros and cons, right? If you're an old guy and you're using your wealth, yeah, you could get the women, but they may not love you back, right? Well, you could be a younger guy and you may get the girl, but she might cheat on you with the older guy who makes more money. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, you can have one, but that don't mean that one attraction ladder doesn't come with negatives. They all come with negatives, right? So for me, for example, I'm getting older, obviously, so I can't rely on Tinder to meet women if I want to meet a woman. So what I do then is I rely on meeting people in real life, right? I'll rely on, okay, let me go to a drawing event. Obviously, I'll be the best artist in that event. And hopefully I'll meet a girl right there. I put myself in a position where in one way or another, I am a quote unquote in the dominance scale. I put myself in those positions. It doesn't work all the time, but over time, if you keep building up skills, for example, me, I'm playing the drums now. I'm trying to play the drums. I used to play the drums, but I'm trying to get good at it. Not to get women, but it does add to your aura. You know what I'm saying? So now I play the drums. I'm able to play in a band. Over time, you start adding little things to you because you enjoy them. You may not notice about women observe and they're like, oh, wow, this guy is pretty talented. So in the talented hierarchy, I'm pretty high up there, right? I may not be in the youth hierarchy, right? I may not be in the tall hierarchy. I may not be the best looking hierarchy, but I know maybe in the talented artist and musician hierarchy, I can maybe stand out in that way. You got to know how to accept where you're not good at and focus on what you're good at. Too many of you motherfuckers just want to be good looking. It's like, no, you can't. Okay, you got to find another way.
Something like that. It's whatever makes them more suitable for the kind of physical combat that elephant seals engage in. So, and the degree to which power is associated with dominance status in those sorts of situations seems to be associated with the size differential between males and females. So the more power is an issue with regards to male competence, the larger the males are compared to the females, and the more likely the males are going to have a harem relationship with the females. And you see that a little bit in human beings because men are bigger than women. They're not overwhelmingly bigger, that's sexual dimorphism. And you know, there's some men that are smaller than some women, but on average men are taller and they have more upper body strength and so forth. So there is a power element to male competition, but it's not as extended as it would be among animals, say like elephant seals. So in the elephant seal, you see maybe there's one stable set of traits that's being selected for that makes the males more likely to reproduce. But human beings, we're very weird creatures because we're so conceptually flexible. And so what seems to have happened, maybe males started selecting each other for in dominance competitions for something like cognitive flexibility and conscientiousness. It's something like that. So that would be the ability to abstractly represent the world and then the ability to operate effectively within it, to represent yourself socially in a way and then to carry through with that, because that enables people to trust you. So it's something like that. And so that produced cortical expansion, and then women were selecting men who were good at that, and that produced cortical expansion. And then there's an arms race between women and men with regards to intelligence. So the women kept up, or they certainly kept up with intelligence.
Because sometimes Peterson just says shit, and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? But what he is saying though is that men competed against each other for the sake of it, and women observed who was the best at that. It could be arbitrary. It could be kicking a ball through a hole. But the men tried, the women saw who won, and then the women became attracted to those traits. Originally, it was hunter-gatherers. But after that, it became maybe chess, right? So they saw, oh, guys are competing against chess. Who's the best chess player? Oh, wow, right? Or it could be fighting. Anything that's competitive, women look who's the best at that competition, except Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Women seem not to give a fuck if you play Yu-Gi-Oh card. Well, it depends, right? Magic the Gatherings. I've seen Magic the Gathering baddies, right? But that's the whole point, is that women just want the most dominant one. They want the one who's on top. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It could be knitting. Just be the best at it within that context, right? If you guys want to learn more about this, I have a course that I teach you guys how to do that.
All right, guys, we're going to have a brief intermission so that I can tell you guys about our new bundle that we're doing, where you guys can purchase all of my courses and get it at a discount. So this bundle is pretty much the bundle where you could just buy all of my courses. You could buy Nice Guy, which is a training course on how to come across more assertive, how to come across more confident, how to not give off nice guy vibes. You guys can get access to Dark Game, which is my full dating course on how to meet women in different scenarios, how to attract women, how to make sure you don't come across as creepy, and essentially how to act like a man and not act like a doofus, to be quite honest with you. And you get all of these bonuses, which is the bonuses of Dark Game, the bonuses of Practical Mastery, which is about how to master a skill, Social Mastery, which is how to master your social life, and the Laws of Human Nature, which is a book club videos that I had dissecting Robert Greene's book. All of this is naturally at around naturally is at $346, but you guys can purchase this bundle and get it at what's the price again? Get it at $238 pretty much. So you guys can purchase it right now. It's a money back 30-day money back guarantee. It's a good way to, rather than just buying them individually and paying extra, you guys can just purchase everything at a discount price. Now, the only thing I don't like is the fact that I'm giving you a lot of information at the same time. That makes me kind of scared, because a lot of times people don't do the things that I teach when you get too much information. But I've gotten too many requests to do this, so I'm just satisfying you guys. Purchase it right now by clicking on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle. All right, let's continue with the video.